Good morning, fifth grade. We are day 14 of NTI. I wanted to make a quick video. You'll be starting day one of two lessons, I think, of conversions, converting standard measurement units, okay? This is something that we've hit periodically on our simple solution, but I want to go over it for the next few days. We got to practice this because this is one of those math facts that really apply to real life. We've talked about this. We've talked about having to be able to convert feet to inches, or even days to months, or months to years. So that's the kind of thing that we'll be doing over the next few days, just understanding that you can convert, you can convert bigger units of things to smaller ones, or you can even take smaller ones and convert them to bigger ones. So that is what we're going to do. Today we'll start with some problem solving, just solving some problems, word problems on just standard conversions. Now, I'm going to go over a few word problems with you today. I'm going to walk you through them. I'm going to solve a few of them while we are on here together. But I do want to stop and I want to make a point. If you, during the next 2 days, you're going to want to reference this page 286 in your Simple Solution math book that you all have at home. In the help pages, and just in general, these help pages are very helpful in this simple solution on any topic that we will be covering, reviewing, or using. But the measurement, the equivalent units chart in the back of it is very helpful. So you'll probably want to refer to this during our lesson over the next 2 days, probably. All right, so I'm going to keep this on hand so we have it in case we need to look for it. But the first word problem that we're going to talk about today, or the conversion problem, is Jack measures a shelf to be 4 feet and 6 inches tall. What is the height in inches? And one thing I want you guys to become very accustomed to doing, very used to doing, I want you to make sure to underline the units. So we have 4 feet and 6 inches, and then make sure to go back in the question and circle what units it actually asked for in the question, because as you can see, it uses feet and it uses inches in the first part, but in the actual question it wants to know how many inches tall that the shelf is. So what it wants us to do, it wants us to take 4 feet 6 inches and convert it all to inches. Well, and we'll go back to our chart and we talk about feet. I see in here that 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. So I know that part of the shelf is 4 feet. So I'm going to take those 4 feet and I'm going to multiply it by 12, because in each of those 4 feet, there's 12 inches. So for me to get the total number of inches in 4 feet, I have to multiply that by 12. And we know that that is 48 inches tall. But that's just one part of the shelf. There's still an extra 6 inches that he measured as well. So you would do 48 plus 6, and we would work this out, and that is 54 inches tall. So if we are going to answer this question, we would say the shelf that Jack measured is 54 inches tall. So we just took a simple conversion, taking feet to inches. Those are the type questions that you're going to be answering over the next few days. So I definitely want you guys to become accustomed to doing that. And like I said, refer to your chart. Use your chart. They're called help pages for a reason. Over the next few days, I want you to refer to this chart, because the more you look at it and the more you use it, the more it will stick in your brain. So I want you guys to be able to use that. Now, next question, we're going to talk about how many meters does 2,400 centimeters equal? What is it? How many meters can we get out of 2,400 centimeters? Okay, so we're going to refer back to our book. We know that 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. So it doesn't give me how many meters that are accounted for. It gives me there's 2,400 meters. What to figure out how many meters that is, I'm going from a smaller unit and I need to get to a bigger unit. So I gotta go backwards. I know 24 is not gonna be equal to 2400. There's not gonna be 2400 meters. So I know my number needs to get smaller. And if you'll remember, we talked about this. If we needed a number to be smaller, what operation would we use? It would be division. So 2400 divided by, and we said that there was 100 centimeters in a meter. So we're dividing that by 100. Now, we're going to use our numbers pattern, our zeros pattern. We know when you're dividing a power of 10, and I have 2 zeros. I'm going to assume that there's a decimal at the end of this whole number, 2400, and then I'm going to just move that decimal back 1, 2 spots because there's 2 zeros in the 100 that I'm dividing it by. And we learned that when we were dividing decimals by powers of 10, we knew that we can use these two, or we know that the zeros cancel each other out when you're dividing by a power of 10 as well on both sides. So at the end of this, I know that there are 24 meters in 2400 or 2400 centimeters. That is another way to find equivalent units or to convert centimeters to meters. All right, last question I'm going to go over. It says Luke ran 324 feet, while Abby ran 76 yards. Who ran the furthest amount? So one thing we have to make sure we do, circle or underline, either one, feet. We know that this one is in feet and this one is in yards. Now, what do we need to know here? Background information. We need to come over here and we need to know that for every yard, that equals 3 feet, okay? So to figure out how many yards Luke ran, what do I have to do there? What do I have to do to that 324? I know that I need to group these into group of 3s to figure out how many yards there are. So to group or to divide. So we will use division to help us figure out how many yards Luke actually ran. And we divide it by 3 because we know for every 3 feet that equals 1 yard. So 3 goes into 3 one time. Divide, multiply, then subtract, bring it on down, and then we bring it back to the front. 3 goes into 2 0 times. So we put our placeholder to hold that's a 0, and then we bring on down our 4. 3 goes into 24, 8 times. So 324 feet is actually equivalent to 108 yards. So, knowing this information, if this is 108 yards and 324 feet, those are the equivalent. Abby ran 76. Luke ran 108 yards. Who ran the furthest? Then we have to know that Luke ran the furthest because he actually ran equivalent to 108 yards. She only ran 76 yards. So those are the type of things we'll be doing. You'll have practice on that today. Use your chart. Make sure to use your chart to help you. When make sure that you pay attention to if you're going from a bigger one to a smaller one. Okay, if it asks you to go from meters to centimeters, of course, there's going to be more centimeters because they are smaller. So you're going to multiply. And then if you're going from meters, if it gives you a certain amount of centimeters and wants you to see how many meters there are, you're going from a smaller unit to a bigger unit. So you need to, or a smaller unit to a bigger unit. So you're going to, your number's going to get smaller, because it's going to take more to make those bigger units. we will practice, okay? Any questions, you let me know. I am here. Make sure to message me, and I'll see you guys soon.